Jacob, 10th year.
Yep.
Another season done. Earlier reflections.
Yeah, it was a funny old year, this one. I feel like we had a bit of, I guess the word is expectation outside of the club. If we were going to have a pretty good pre-season, no injuries, I feel like we had a pretty good platform off the back of the last couple of years to do something pretty good this year. Obviously it didn't pan out that way, especially after the first 4 or 5 rounds. Pretty disappointing start, I guess. Don't know if you've got too much to elaborate on that, but it was tough. Certainly, early 4 or 5 goals up against the Tigers, and didn't pan out the way we wanted it to go. But I don't know, there was some good patches, some inconsistent patches. Obviously across our game plan, there was a fair bit to work on across the year. And
yeah, no, it definitely felt clunky. I think that's the word I've used to describe most of the season, but it was. It's probably hasn't been too many years I've been a part of since Vossi that we haven't got momentum at some point. And I felt like this year we struggled to get momentum. Probably the only time we really got it was the last sort of 4 games. So the positive was nice to finish that way, but I think a lot of the boys' reflections, there's a fair bit of disappointment. And in a way, I reckon we look at it and I don't know. I'm always an optimist, as you know, but it was hard. Like I found it really challenging at certain times, just because I suppose you got outcome focused, which I know we've chatted about a bit, and I feel like that's where it really turned in the sort of last 4 or 5 weeks, that we really brought a lot of energy to the place when there wasn't a lot of energy outside, which I think was a big lesson for us as leaders, but also as a playing group, that we can control our own energy. And when we did that, we actually played with a lot of freedom, a lot of joy, and as a result, I reckon everyone started to really love watching us play again.
We've got some games into some younger boys as well, which it's hard when you obviously want to win games of footy, you want to win finals, you want to be there in September, but as you sort of mentioned, that back end, we need to find some purpose for those sort of last 6-7 weeks, and I think we did that as a club. The results may have not have gone our way early, but to get a couple of wins late, and then to have guys like Billy Wilson play, Cooper Lord had an unbelievable year, Matty Carroll down back, like Count, I'm sure you could mention a few mids, but it was just good to see a few of the boys get a bit more consistent in their roles and some confidence, and I think that'll give them a good foundation again for next year.
No, you definitely saw them grow. And I reckon, like you talk about energy and excitement, like when you see them play, especially I reckon a lot of them got their first win, probably the Melbourne game. Seeing them smile, I reckon it really makes you reflect about when you were a young fella. Yep. Now they're a bit older, but also probably made you think of people that actually helped you along your journey, and probably made us reflect about how we can really help these guys and build a lot of energy, and I suppose harness their energy to understand why we still play.
Yeah.
And that really helped me. I felt like at the end of the year, 6 weeks ago, I reckon a lot of guys would have gone in the season a bit unsure. Like a lot of guys felt what it's like to get momentum again at the back end of the year, and I know everyone says it, but you want to finish the year the right way. That's what I think, from a really difficult year, which I reckon we were all frustrated at for most of the year, we found a way to hopefully build some momentum going into our off-season and pre-season. But I know you made a few comments. Star on the SCN show, Big Weiters. Always tune into that one, mate.
Tonight. Fall asleep.
No, I don't mind. Listen to you, Weiters. You don't mince your words. So I know the big one you said. Like obviously, when you go through a tough year, there's a lot of external commentary. But I know you made the point of whatever happens will happen. But if you're with us, we move on forward. And it might be a bit more blunt than that, but just want to elaborate a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like the nature of the game is movement, and there's going to be players and coaches, and across our journey so far we've had a lot of movement, and we've probably preached stability over the last sort of 3 or 4 years, and I think naturally, and you can probably only speak for the playing group, as a player and as a leader, you want to feel connected, you want to feel safe, you want to feel trusted, and trust is bloody hard to build, as you know, at this level, and it's very, very easy to lose, and we've got to have some alignment, or absolute alignment on where we want to go and what our purpose is, and like the obvious ones are premierships and wins, but what do we want this club to look like on the inside? What does our culture want to look like? How do we want to act and feel amongst each other? And even, you know, the last game against Essendon, the win and then the post-room sort of celebrations, the moments we spend in the locker room together, they're the things that you'll remember. And we've had a few retirement speeches of recent, and they're the things that they talk about. So who we have come sort of day one of pre-season will be the guys that we stick with and do a job with going forward. So and there'll be a few guys I'm sure come in that'll help us out.
I reckon that's the thing we chat about as leaders, but you want to create an environment where people love coming to work. But there was also that edge there that we've got to understand what we're here for too. You know what I mean? So when you get people pulling in the right direction, good energy, but you don't compromise, your standards, on the field. We've been a part of some teams, probably in the last few years where that's been clicking, and that feeling's addictive. So when you don't get that, from an on-field point of view, you're always searching about, what's the way forward. So that's probably where priorities right now. But as always, mate, move forward with optimism. What are you excited about? I know it's still raw, but what are you excited about going into 2026?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, again, the year we've had is the year we've had, and we've got to, assess it, review it, and move on pretty quickly. But I sort of mentioned the younger boys in that last 6 weeks. You want to win games of football, and losing Newey at the start of the year, we had some senior guys go down throughout the year, and to blood, a few of those younger guys and get, that first win against Melbourne for a few of them, gives you a lot of energy, and if you as leaders can invest in those guys, it's amazing how it pays you back in the long term. And Harry O'Farrell was a big part of that for me. I think you sort of see yourself a little bit in the way they go about it, off the field and then obviously on the field, and he's just playing with so much, just instinct, pure footy instinct, and enjoying his football. And we saw that in a few of his performances, and then you got some pretty unique individuals down back. Matty Carroll, Jeff being one of them. He's got that footy IQ, makes everything look slower. When he's got the ball, he's able to move out of packs pretty quickly, and then he's got a beautiful kick on him and defends really well. And thought Lockie Cowan, if he hadn't already had a breakout year, this was certainly one for him that he can take a lot of confidence in, and I reckon he's going to be a top, he has the potential easily to be a top 50 player, I reckon, in the AFL. Can play tall and small, he's got a beautiful kick on him and can defend bloody hard. So I guess for me, that's probably my highlight is the guys that were able to come in and do a job for us. And excited for sort of what that holds for them in the future, and hopefully they can, keep their spot with guys like Newey coming back. Yeah. So, what about yourself?
Yeah, mate, I'm actually really excited. I felt like I said before, the year finished 6 weeks ago when I suppose we're searching a little bit. Probably a lot of guys low on confidence. And then the way that the year ended, I actually leave really motivated. I'm to be really honest, when you start seeing the weather good in Melbourne, especially the last few weeks, that inner instinct in you, I was frustrated. I was loving the environment, but I was frustrated that we didn't have a chance to have a crack at it. But that drives you, but it's just, that's what you're working towards as well. We want to get back there. But in terms of the why I'm optimistic, like you said, some of these young guys, you got someone like Jagger Smith who's just eating out the palm of anyone's hand just to get out there. He's so highly driven. That excites me, because I know he'll complement what we've got around the ball very well. Cooper Lord come in, got exposure, played some really good footy. I think George, I think people really understand how good George is. George had a serious year. And I think his consistency and his hunger to get better. He's such a good role model for these young guys coming in. See Walsh's last few games, I reckon that's as confident and as not as determined, because he's always determined, but he just looked free. You know what I mean? He just looked back to Walsh at his best. So you got all that, and then we're a really tight midfield group, so I feel like we got some really strong sort of pop going forward. So I'm optimistic about that, and then just culturally, I felt like we learned a lot of good lessons this year, and sometimes they're hard when you're in them. No one enjoys adversity, but the one thing I reckon we learn is we got to enjoy the whole process a whole lot more. And the word expectation, we as a group, we got to learn to really embrace that and not get, I suppose, suffocated by it. I think that's the honest and raw thing, and that's club wide. I don't think that's just players. I think we got to learn to deal with and to really enjoy all the noise, because if you harness it the right way, you know, used to some moments like that last quarter on Gold Coast, like it's addicting. If you harness it the wrong way, then you know, you get a lot of, I suppose, players low on confidence and they overthink, which is, as we know, it's not when you play your best footy. So yeah, that's the challenge, but also that's the excitement that I see is, you know, we get that right, and there's a powerful beast behind us. So, which was highlighted, I suppose, in the 23 final series, mate. And I know we always reflect on it, but that's the addictive feeling of you know, what we get to do. So,
Fossey, it's a tough job being the head coach of a big club like ours, and the way he's sort of handled himself, both as a coach and as a person this year, is under a fair bit of pressure. Yeah. A lot of talk outside the club, and you know, we sort of mentioned stability and our time at the club when things have gotten hard and the pressure's come on. At times we've made changes, and personally I think it was an excellent move for the club to back him in as head coach, and as leaders we spend a lot of time with him. And do you want to talk a little bit about, you know, maybe how he's gone about it this year, and you know, maybe what he thinks about what's next for us?
Yeah, well, first of all, I agree with you. I think he's a great leader, and one thing you always find out about people is in really tough times how they lead, especially leaders. Yep. I know we've said that a bit, but it's really easy to, sometimes when the team's going well, you just got to sit back and let it run. You know what I mean? When it's tough, you got to show up. You know, you're the energy of the group. You know, you're controlling the standards. You're trying to be solution based rather than pointing at the problem. Like, there's all these things that go into it, but I think the way he carried himself, like, it was pretty extreme what was going on in the middle part of the year. Yep. But it kept fronting up, kept leading strongly, challenged us, supported us, like a good mix of that, I thought. Some really honest conversations, and then I think at the back end, I feel like the last 6 weeks, I think he learned a lot about the group as well, in terms of the joy and the fun and the excitement, and harnessing all of this energy that we shifted. And I reckon he really enjoyed his coaching the last 6 weeks. I know we've had some good chats with him, but you know, that was great to see. And then you know, the boys enjoyed it. But yeah, it is a tough job. But I think the more you know, we talk about, like I said before, the expectation of that, the more we normalise it and realise that you know, we're a footy club. A lot of stakeholders, but at the end of the day, we're a footy club. We come in, have the right energy, build the right habits. Have the right standards.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably go along the lines of Walshy's comments. Was it post-Port, I think? That no BS mentality going forward for us. I mean, as you sort of mentioned, we're a club with many stakeholders, players, coaches, staff, and obviously the fans do an unbelievable job for us to you know, support us every single week. And the Gold Coast game, as you mentioned, was an example of that. We probably didn't have the 3 quarters that we wanted, but that energy that they brought in that last quarter was unbelievable. And we've got to do this together as a club and move forward to, you know, what is the ultimate goal of playing in September and winning that last game. But as you mentioned, you can't be a burden of that expectation. It's the process. You've got to find joy in that. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to what's next for this club.
It's good, mate.
Good chat, mate.
Happy days. Cheers.